Somebody stuck a pickle up my ass tonight. Do 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 do. I poke you in the eye with my love stick. Yeah. Anyways, speaking of getting poked in the eye with a love stick, so I want to tell this story. It's actually not much of a story, but it just the thought came to my mind, and I wanted to talk about it. Because it's not even really a long story, but childhood being what it was back in the day for me at least. Because it was weird. It's like I had a horrible childhood, but I know other people have had worse, and it's disturbing. Like I wasn't abused. I mean, I may have been verbally abused, which shouldn't be downplayed, but obviously not the same as being like physically abused or sexually abused or whatever. But like I was one of those kids who actually had their father at home, even though my father being at home really didn't mean anything, like at all. I mean, seriously, having Dale T sit on the couch really, I mean, I was almost in the same boat with the other kids. Let me turn that up a little bit. Come on, motherfucker. There you go. I don't want to turn up too loud because I don't want you to hear the fan blowing in the background, which you're probably going to anyway. But growing up, my father, like I said, was there. He was in the household. Like, he didn't go out for smokes one day and not come home. Well, he probably should have. But no, he was there. The only difference is he wasn't really there, if you get what I mean. He was physically there, but just, emotionally, he was like, he's like Homer Simpson, just drooling, and it was horrible. And my father and I shared nothing in common. He liked to go hunting and fishing. I didn't like to go outside. We had nothing in common. Other than the fact, I made fun of him for being, an idiot. And I'm like 3 years old calling him Stupid Dale. Stupid Dale! It was Stupid Dale and Stupid Penny. Stupid Penny! Okay. Because you gotta understand, when I was a kid, and I remember the time, so like if your children call you by your first name, I remember doing that with my parents, and it was simply so that I could learn their names. Because, I'm like 2-3 years old, right? Just barely able to speak. And then all of a sudden it became a force of habit, because my mother said to me one time, like, why do you call me Penny and not Mom? And I was like, I don't know, that's a good question. I didn't really think of it. And I explained to her, I first started out, because I was trying to learn your name. Now keep in mind, I'm 3 years old explaining this to her. And then all of a sudden it just sort of became habit. And I didn't really understand habits and all that stuff. But, it is what it is. So anyways, I was 2, 3, 4 years old calling my parents Stupid Penny, Stupid Dale. And like I said, my father and I never had a relationship of any kind. There was like maybe 1 or 2 moments. There was the one where he got that shitty, from Herb Phillipson's, that shitty tent. It was like a $10 tent, and it was, believe me, it was a $10 tent. No, hear me, tent. TNT. Tent. And he put it out in the front yard. And it was basically just this sackcloth of shit. And it wasn't even put up properly. Like, you roll around in it, and if you were inside of it and you moved, like, the whole thing would just collapse. The little things that were like the little pokers, you're supposed to poke these things into the ground. They were about an inch in the fucking ground, and I mean, a stiff wind would have blown this thing away. And there's that one moment where he and I are inside the thing, and my mother's standing in the front of the doorway, because you gotta understand, this was back in the day. Okay, because like we had this little, it wasn't really a porch, but it was like this little walkway that we had built in later years. This is back when we had the screen door. There was no like stairs, like leading out toward the pool. These stairs were leading out straight out, like to the bank. If you remember what the bank looks like. And And my father years ago had made this makeshift walk-in. I don't even know what the hell you call it. It was basically 3 sides and a screen door in a roof. And it was hobnob as fuck. And eventually later on we tore that down and then put up the deck that was there. Now I don't say deck because it wasn't really a deck per se. Although I suppose you could sit out there. But I'm comparing it to the deck that I have now out here where you can actually sit. There's a table and there's chairs and I could put the grill out there if I wanted. This wasn't really that kind of a deck. It was more of a walkway deck. Just like there was no sitting and there was no... I mean, you could sit out there, but it's not that kind of a deck. This was pre that. So my mother's standing in the doorway, and it's like the tent is like right in front of her. And he hobnobbed this thing together. Now keep in mind, like I said, it was a shitty tent. It was like the picture. If I even have it somewhere, I think I do, but I don't know what happened to it. You literally see me. Like if you're the old woman, I would be on, let's see, the left. He'd be on the right, and you see just our heads, and we're sitting there, and we got like our chins and our hands are propped up by our elbows, and we're smiling, and we got our hands like around the cheeks for our own cheeks of our face, and our palms like holding up our chins, and we're smiling. That's like one of the few memories that I have of Dale T. And you have to understand, that's all the memory I have of Dale T. There's one other time with the eggnog, because he basically declared to the family, which is just, you gotta understand, the family is just him, the old woman, and myself. So there's 3 of us. He declared, "I'm going next door. I'm going next door." Now, going next door was code in our family, meaning that there had always been a gas station, literally right straight across the road. Like, we're talking, there's the road. We're on one side in the now nice and easy, but at the time it was not nice and easy, was right next door. Well, he decided he's going to go over there. And it's one of the few Christmas moments I have that I remember fondly. And he comes back with a carton of eggnog and some Archway gingerbread cookies. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen those gingerbread cookies, but they have they're gingerbread cookies. They have the little white face and they have the little sprinkles on them. And he came back, and the reason I remember this is because he looked so pathetic. Like, pathetic to the point where I was disgusted with him as a human being. Because when he came back, you have to understand the way it was. I was in my bedroom on the computer, the old woman was sitting. Actually, I think she may have been laying down or something, or maybe she had taken off. I don't know. Maybe she was at church or something. I don't know. I think she was laying down in the back bedroom. So when I hear the door slam, he comes back. Now, I don't know what he's doing. All I know is he went next door. And I don't know what he's getting. No clue. I come out. I'm standing in the kitchen. Now, I don't know why I'm telling you any of this, because this isn't the story that I want to tell. I'm leading up because I am trying to pad this a little bit. I'm not going to lie. But I want to tell some of these stories. So you understand the father-son dynamic that we have here. Or didn't have. Whatever. Anyways. So he comes in through the kitchen, and there's that one counter over by the toaster, over by where the microwave used to be. And he set his stuff down. Now keep in mind, the kitchen was always a wreck. There were dishes, and there were this and that. So the quote-unquote counter space, it wasn't a lot. In fact, it probably wasn't any. He's got his coffee cup sitting there and his spoon and like a fucking retard. Because you gotta understand, oh God, it always irritated me. There's 2 things he did that irritated me. I'm gonna take a little break from the going next door story. The 2 things that they ate away at me. They just, He would make instant coffee. Like all the time. He religiously drank instant coffee. So he would take hot tap water, which is just fucking nasty. I'm sorry. I have one of those distillers, and if you see what's in that water, ew. But he would take warm tap water. Like to the point we had to have it kicked up really hot. Like if you go to wash your hands, you turn on hot water and wash your hands, you'll scald yourself. Because it had to be hot so he could have coffee. And he would take his cup. He would take his little Folgers or Maxwell House, whatever the fuck it was. He'd screw off the top. He'd get a spoon from the strainer, whatever those things are. He would scoop out a spoonful into his cup, go clink, clink, clink as he started, and then throw the spoon on the counter and walk away. And it's like, you can't wash that fucking thing off. You can't wash that fucking thing off. You literally, ding, 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 and that's it. Ding, ding, all the time. Every time he goes out in the kitchen, you hear ding, 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 ding. And I'm like, dude, you can't wash that goddamn thing out. All you have to do is literally take it from there, turn about a half a step, and run it under some water and stick it back in there. Instead, now you've got this spoon that's sitting there all covered in coffee. Now the counter's covered in coffee because there's a little bit on the spoon. Now you got a stain on the fucking counter, and he's like, and walks away. Oh, it's irritated the fuck out of me. And the second thing, holy Jesus, this one pisses me off the fucking most. The man, every time he would cook eggs, now you have to understand, you have to picture the kitchen from where he was, where the toaster was. And this is going back to the story, him going next door. If he took a step to the left and turned, he'd be at the sink, and he could rinse his spoon off. If he took another step to the left, now he'd be 180 from where he was originally, and took a step forward, he'd be at the stove. If he did one more step and then took a step forward, he'd be at the trash bucket. So we're talking within like 2 steps, 3 steps at max. Everything's at reach. Because it was a small fucking kitchen, basically, is what I'm trying to say to you. So he'd be standing at the stove. And he'd be frying his fucking eggs, and it had to be 2. Always had to have 2 eggs. He'd crack them, stick them in his little frying pan with his little butter, and then instead of taking the fucking eggshells and going one step over and sticking it in the trash bucket, which was right there, he would take these fucking eggshells and put them into one of his coffee cups that were sitting there because nobody did dishes. And by the time somebody actually went to do dishes, these eggshells had been sitting in there for at least 5, 6, 8 hours. Who the fuck knows? And the shit would, like, harden. Do you hear the word? Fucking harden. Like my heart toward him. Harden. Okay. And I'd have to do dishes and soak that shit for about 10 minutes. And it's like, you can't go an extra goddamn step to throw your fucking eggshells in it. They need to get pissy because I would question. And I'm like, you fucking retard. You 50-year-old fucking retard. And he's 50 at the time. He's like, he's late 60s now, pushing 70. Like, you fucking retard. Anyways, back to the story. So he goes next door, he comes back, he's standing at the toaster, which his back would be to where the stove would be. And he's unpackaging his bag of loot. He had a bag of loot. He had a bag of loot from the store, from the Nice and Easy, and I don't know what it is. So I come out here, I hear the door shut, I come out the bedroom, and I'm standing there, I'm looking around the microwave at him, peeking around the corner like, what do you got, motherfucker? Because obviously I want some too, you know. And he's completely oblivious to me. And he is focused. He is like, I can't even... The sheer determination and the sheer focus of will was all comprised in his upper lip and his stash, as his teeth were kind of like, he was doing like this almost chewy thing with like his lip. He's like, I can't really, like, imagine a mouse, like when the mouse goes, does that little thing and the little teeth and okay, he was doing that. And even part of my mind makes me think he was even making the little noises, because he was kind of like jittering, like with his mouth, and it was like, I'm watching this, and he is like enthralled in ecstasy with what he's done with his life. His life has culminated to this moment of unpacking what he has in this bag. Okay, he didn't care about being a good Christian. He doesn't care about being a good American. He doesn't care about being a good father. He doesn't care about being a good husband. He don't care about being a good human being. He is just happy about this moment. This moment has... Everything that he has done in his entire life has led to this moment. What's in this bag? First off, he pulls out a thing of eggnog. And then he pulls out the Archway cookies. And then he pulls out his paper. And he lays it, and he literally sets them up. Like you'd see one of those military guys, they'd have their shoes laid out, they'd have their uniform laid out, they'd have all their medals laid out. It was one of those things where it was just like some sort of OCD kind of thing, where it's like the paper had to be tilted like in the setting in just the right angle, and the cookies were just at the right angle, and because he couldn't just set it down and have it be like awkward. It had to be like straight. And he was like taking his time doing it. I'm watching him do this, and I'm like, because he has never taken care of anything. He didn't take care of himself. Man barely showered. I think he showered like once a week. He'd take whore baths in the sink. The old man used to refer to it as a whore bath, where he'd like wash himself in the sink. I mean, that's how bad it was. Like he was like, I mean, but for this one moment, everything had to be perfect. And then he takes the bag and he just like flings it over to the side. And it literally, because you got to picture like somebody being attacked by bees and they're like swatting around, but he's got this white plastic Walmart bag and he's just like flinging it over his head and like throwing it away. And then he just sits there and he looks at it for like a split second, and you can just read his face. It's like he is so proud of himself. He is like proud. He like, I can't even. I mean, I don't know. I can't even put it into words. And I looked at him. I literally said, "You're a fucking idiot, DLT." I walked off. It was like, because again, you have to picture his little stash was just twerking. His stash was twerking. His little buck teeth are. He's like all like just jittery and happy and like, oh, like a kid at Christmas, because he has eggnog and gingerbread cookies. Okay, so to say that the father-son relationship was always something magical, no. We had a weird relationship, I'm not gonna lie. Actually, we didn't really have any relationship, but other than the fact I would come out, look around, and be like, "You're a fucking idiot," and I'd walk away. I'd take whatever food he had and then walk away. But anyways, this goes back to, my God, I had to be at least 11, 12 years old. And I forgot which one it was. There was the Cub Scouts, and then there was the Boy Scouts. And I think I was in Cub Scouts at first. And then I did go into Boy Scouts for a little bit, only because my mother wanted to do it at the house, so whatever. But I think it was Cub Scouts. Whatever. They had over at the Fire Barn, which literally was also next door, because you had basically the store, and then like the next thing over was like the fire hall. And so it was within walking distance, and they had this, I don't even know what the hell it was called, like racing derby Derby rally, something or other. And all the boys were required to buy these little model cars, these little models. They were just basically a piece of wood with these little peg wheels, and we could create these little derby cars that had to be a certain weight and so on and so forth. And then what we'd do, we'd all get together. We put the little derby cars on their little lanes, and then the little door would open, and they'd basically go down the hill, because it was like this ramp, and it would go down, and whichever one won, that kid won. Well, the minute this derby thing happened, Dale T literally jumped off the couch. Like, he's never gotten off the couch for anything ever. Like, you could yell fire, and he'd be like, fire, fire, fire. I mean, he barely came out for dinner half the time. And a couple times I actually had to bring food in to him. It was how bad it was. But the minute my mother's like, oh, he's going to do this derby car race. And Dale T's like, derby car? Derby car? Derby car? He jumped off the couch. He's like, I'm going to help you out, boy. We're going to do this right. We're going to do this derby car right. And I'm thinking, because I'm a kid, I still have faith in my parents, okay? I'm thinking, oh, great, my father's going to help me. My father knows what he's doing. He's a man. He knows what he's doing. He knows about these things. Oh, the innocence of youth. Fucking A. He takes the derby car. Now, I haven't even seen the derby car yet. I haven't even seen it. You have to understand, you're basically given, or you're but you're given by the organization. You're given this little rectangular box, and inside said box is basically this big rectangle chunk of wood that has like this little curvature, and it looks like a little car. And there's these little holes that are already pre-drilled, these little pegs and these wheels. You stick the peg into the wheel and stick the whole thing into the thing, and now you could carve it, you can paint it, you can do whatever you want as long as there's whatever, as long as it meets certain requirements, like it's not too light or too heavy, whatever. Well, Dale T, I haven't even had a chance. My mother came home from work with this derby car, because apparently people that she was at work with at the time, or whatever, I don't even remember. But she came home with this derby car, and she's like, "Oh, I got your derby car. You finished it?" Because I think we had like a week or a month or whatever the hell it was to do whatever we wanted to do. And I think it was like a week probably, or 2 weeks, whatever. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll look at it when I'm done. When I'm done playing video games or whatever it was I was doing. I didn't have a chance to even get the words out. Dale T jumped off the couch, like literally, like a 2-year-old jumping off a bed. He sprung to his feet, and he's like, "We're gonna do this right." He grabs a derby car before I even had a chance to see it. He's opened it up. He's taken the little piece of wood, and he's going toward the cellar door. Now his tools are downstairs. I don't mean to get ahead of myself by the laughter. But he's like, "We're gonna do it right. We'll make this super fast for you. You're gonna have the fastest car there." And I'm like, wow, my daddy knows what he's talking about. He's gonna make my derby car the most fastest one there. All of a sudden, he takes this thing, opens up the cellar door. Now, I don't know if you remember the cellar door, but it was tragic down there. He flips on the light, and it has this distinct sound when he flips it on. And I'm sitting on the couch. I was sitting in the chair. He was on the couch. I'm sitting in the chair. And he runs downstairs. And literally like something out of a comedy. You could hear that as he's working. He's working. I'm thinking he's down there carving. He's got like chisels and shit. He's gonna carve it. He's gonna make it streamlined. He's gonna do all this great stuff. And I'm like, you know, because it would have been nice to do a little bit of it myself. But I'm like, hey, you know what? He's into it. Let him have his fun. You know, let him. And hey, you know what? You know, most of these other kids don't even have dads. So hey, my dad knows what he's doing. Anyway, I don't know. Like an hour and a half later, he comes back. This is part of the reason I call him Dale T. Other than the fact his middle initial is T. And he'd always run around. Like every time he'd sign something, Dale T, Dale T, Dale T, Dale T, Dale T. And I looked at his stuff and I'm like, what's with the Dale T? Why does he always put the Dale T? Because Dale T, you know, Dale T Browser, Dale T Browser, Dale T Browser. I'm like, why is he always signing Dale T? Well, what is he, like an assassin? Was he going to assassinate somebody or something? You know? I mean, whatever. I don't know what the whole T thing is about, but anyway, that's that and this is kind of how the whole T thing got started. Anyways, let me explain that a little more. So anyways, after all like this calamity of all this like literal sound effects of him downstairs sawing and hacking away and nailing and pounding with hammers, and he comes back to reveal this grandeur, this delusion thereof, this epiphany, this creation, this wonder that he's going to bestow upon his boy, upon his son, the thing he's going to do that's going to make his son proud of him. I almost want to weep. He holds this thing aloft like the Legend of Zelda, like when Link grabs something, like he grabs a raft and he puts over his head and he's like, one of those things. He literally holds this thing aloft. Like Moses held the 10 Commandments and the light shone down. He holds this thing aloft. And what I see, I literally said, what the hell is that? And my mother's like, wait, watch your mouth. I said, what the hell is that? He did no reconstruction to the actual physical car itself. So you essentially have this block of wood, and it's curved in the front like where the hood would be, and there's kind of like this indentation where the seat would be, and there's this big back fat end, and then of course the places where the pegs go in. He's done no streamlining. I'm thinking this thing is gonna look like the DeLorean, right? It's gonna be like a mini DeLorean. The only thing he did, I don't mean to laugh, because it's like I know the story and I'm trying to grasp it for you, and there is a literal cross, T-shape, on the back end of it. And I said, what the hell is that? He's like, it's like in NASCAR where they have the spoilers on the back. He put a fucking spoiler on the back. I don't even know if that's even the term to use. And it's literal this T-shape, like an actual T-shape on the back of this derby car. And it wasn't just a little spoiler. It wasn't just a little thing. We're talking, this thing looked like a radio antenna. It was about 3 inches high. And he's like, and what I did, in the back, I drilled a hole, and I stuck a waiter up in there, so I made it heavier, so that when it goes down the ramp, it'll build momentum. And I'm thinking, I'm thinking, okay, well that kind of makes sense. You're gonna wait. Oh my god, I want to cry. I want to literally cry. No, you gotta understand, I blocked this shit out of my mind. I thought of it the other day, and I haven't thought about it for like 30 years. And like I said, it wasn't a little spoiler. I don't even know if spoiler is the right word. Whatever those things are that they put in the back of the NASCAR, they have those things. And because the fucking thing is supposed to be streamlined. Well, this thing, a picture... There's a good picture, but you're not going to know what that looks like. There was this helmet that the Titans had in Destiny, where it looked like there was an airplane like crashed in their head with like these wings literally just came straight out the side. That's what it looked like, but you wouldn't know the picture. You wouldn't grasp it because you... Oh, damn it. Well, imagine making like a T with you're make a cross with your fingers, and that exact shape, like width and height, and the wood's a little thicker though. Is literally on the back of this thing. They got a picture. It's like a really thick piece of wood. These are two big, thick pieces of wood. He's made this cross and stuck on the back of the fucking thing, and then weighted down the ass end of it. Which, if anything, he probably should have weighted, put the weight in the front because again, it's going downhill. So the weight, I don't know, but anyways, so I'm like, okay, whatever. It was one of those things where you're doing this project and your parent has commandeered it, and you're like, okay, they're having more fun with it than I am, so I'm just gonna paint this fucking thing. So I painted it, whatever, and I'm sitting. It's the day of the race, right? The big fucking race, and I'm thinking, hey, it could work. You don't know. I didn't know anything about streamlined and aerodynamics and shit like that. It seemed logical. Hell, even right now thinking about it, okay, sure, NASCAR does it. Seems logical, right? Everybody's looking at this fucking cross, this Southern Cross on this fucking back of this stupid derby car. And Dale T's there. He's proud as shit. He's like, I'm gonna win a race. He's gonna win a race. He won a race with this one. Everybody else, like, their dads helped them. You can see that there's like woodwork and chiseled out of it. This is literally just a block of wood with a cross on it in the wheels. We did nothing. We didn't, because you're supposed to take it and like carve it and stuff. You got the knives and you got the blades and you got the little card for the blades, and you're doing all this stuff because you're Boy Scouts and shit. You're supposed to have like the utility knives and stuff, and you're supposed to carve out stuff and chisel it and whittle it away and stuff. This is just a big chunk of wood. No facial construction had been done. It's just out of the box with a cross on the end of it. And we're not talking just a thin little, thing. We're talking like big, thick pieces of wood. And so I hand my car to the guy. They put it in the lane. Everybody's got theirs, and everybody else's just look great. Anyways, 3, 2, 1, the doors open. Everybody else's car goes zoom all the way to the bottom. And my car is like It's like that Price is Right game with the little yodeler going up the hill. It's going backwards though. He's yodeling backwards. This thing went so fucking slow. The goddamn race was over and people were packing up and going out, and the thing is still going down the ramp, and people are like, is it gonna get we're taking bets on whether it was ever gonna make it to the end. It's just going real slow. Because he waited the fucking thing to, it was like a 20-second delay. It was probably more than that. It was probably more than that. But it felt like a lifetime because everybody else's just went zoop, right down to the bottom, and mine is just like, and one of the wheels was wobbling, of course, and they're like, blah, 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 blah. Oh my Christ, and everybody's just looking and laughing, at this monstrosity, and that was like the last time Dale T ever did anything with me. Like, I don't know if he blamed me. I don't know. I think he blamed the situation at which I was a part, and he took it out on me for like the last 30 years. So, oh my God, I wish I had a picture of that. There's got to be a picture of it somewhere, but I don't have it. Oh my God. And then to make matters worse, I don't remember if it was that day. I think it may have been a different day. But they have this one merit badge that... Now, again, I don't remember if it was Cub Scouts or Boy Scouts. But you have to receive it upside down. Like two strong guys have to pick you up, turn you upside down, like literally head first to the ground. Like if they drop you, you're gonna die. And they pin this thing on your mother pins it on your chest or something to that effect. Now you gotta understand, I was always a big boy. Okay, it ain't gonna take more than two guys to hold me. Even at 12, I was still a hefty motherfucker. I've always been built like a brick shit house. I mean, seriously, I should have been playing football, linebacker kind of shit. Okay, or whatever. So these two guys are trying to hold me. They're trying to pick me up. I don't even think they got me fully upright. I think I was kind of like on the side. And I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? And the old woman's like, and she's like trying to pin the thing on me. I don't even know if she got it on me. I don't even remember. But that was like the last time I remember anything about that shit. I think I quit. Like after that moment. And yeah, that was it. I was done with Boy Scouts after that, or Cub Scouts, or Fuck Scouts, or whatever it is. Oh no, you know what? There was one other time. This was this before or after all that? I don't remember. But that's right, the church had a version. Because I went to Cub Scouts, the Boy Scouts, and then they had what was known as the Royal Rangers. And it was a church thing. Like, it was basically the same stupid shit where you get together once a week. You know. And Dale T was like the headmaster of this, because my mother was she was in the Cub Scouts. She was a den leader, and that was actually kind of fun because everybody would come to the house, and it was great. And she had this really interesting thing that we did. I don't know where the fuck she got the idea. It may have been one of the books that she got, because they, activities. Well, she took this wired coat hanger, and what she did is you stretch it out into a circle, just a regular coat hanger, and stretch it out into a circle with like a hook on it. And then she took white hefty trash bags and cut them into strips, into like millions of little strips. And what you do is you go and you tie them on, and you just keep tying them on, and it makes like this wreath. And it was the most fucked up thing, because it was like, it's actually kind of interesting coming from my house and coming from my family, which we never did anything interesting, and it was obnoxious all at the same time, which was totally conceivable to me, that it was just the stupid thing, but it was kind of a nice stupid thing. I don't know, it was weird. It was the weirdest thing I've ever done in my entire life. And for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it was, they would come, and all the kids would come. There were probably 7 or 8 boys, and they would just take these things. We sit around the kitchen table, and we would strap these fucking things together, because you had to have like 1,000 of them goddamn things. I mean, like, she must have cut up like 800 trash bags. I mean, it was insane, or maybe not that many, but because you understand, 7 or 8 boys, you need at least 1,000 of them fucking things, because when you push them, because you put them together, and you have to like make them really tight, and like push it up back to the top, and there's a lot. That circle was pretty big. And then once it was all done, you could like decorate it with like a ribbon or little balls or some shit. And it made this interesting little wreath. And it was kind of, I don't know, it was weird. But anyways, so we had this thing with the Royal Rangers. I used to call it the Royal Retards because it annoyed me. Because you got my father, and he's like the head of it. And you got Dave Clark, who, God bless him, but Dave was a little, shall we say, how do I say it nicely? He was a little, he spent time in the nut house. Let's put it that way. Well, literally, I don't mean hee hee ha ha. I mean, he was committed. Let's put it that way. He was very committed to what he did. He was very committed to the Lord. Let's put it that way. He's the one guy who, during praise and worship service, would get out of his seat, and you got a picture. There's like an aisle, and then there's the outer aisle, kind of like RCCS had it set up. And you have like one side and then the other side, and you can kind of walk up and down the aisle, like you can walk around a rectangular set of seats. It was that kind of setup. Well, during praise and worship, sometimes the Spirit of the Lord would touch Dave, as it was referred to, quote unquote. And he would get up and he would start screaming like an Indian. Kind of like that. Making these noises, right? And he would gallop and skip and just like, and his hand would be up, his elbow would be like up over past his ear, and his hand would be up, and he'd be like almost like he's riding a bull, but there's like no bull, and he's like, he'd be making these fucking noises, right? And he would run around the church, up the aisle, up the middle aisle, up the side aisles, up the back aisle, up around the front. He'd be up around the front, he'd be up around, he would just scurry around. And he'd be going, I don't know what the fuck it was, but the man, like I said, was very committed. So you can understand, you got Dale T in a leadership role over young boys, with Dave Clark. Mike Abbott was there, and we all know Mike Abbott, God bless him. He was, I don't know what his problem was. I don't want to say retarded, but I think he was retarded. I don't mean retarded in a negative way. Well, other than the fact he's retarded, being, negative as it is. I don't know what he's always like, hi Peter. He'd do that to you. He'd be like, hey man. He was one of those people who were like 35 years old, but had the mental capacity of like a Fig Newton. Okay. Seriously, he's 35 years old with the mental capacity of a Fig Newton. Yeah, that basically sums up Mike Abbott. And nice guy, don't get me wrong. He was always sweet. He was always smiling. He was always happy to be there. God bless him, but it was one of those things, like Greater Grace referred to it as plugging people in. Like trying to find people who, like there are people in the church who just are worthless, and you have to try to find a place for them. These were three worthless human beings. No offense to them, and my father is one of them, but they weren't like your higher echelon of the church. They weren't your deacons. Even though Dale T did become a deacon, he wasn't top brass. Let's put it that way. So he's kind of like lower tier. Dave Clark was a mainstay, so it's hard to say that he wasn't, but he certainly wasn't trusted with any, he wasn't trusted with the keys to the kingdom, let's put it that way. But he was a mainstay. Yeah, he was, I don't know if, I don't remember what, he wasn't like on the board of trustees kind of a deal. Like, he wasn't like an elder, although he may have been on some level, but I think it was just keep him close kind of a deal, not so much like, oh yeah, we trust you with the keys to the kingdom. Whatever. And then he had Mike Abbott. He had Ian Holmes there. Ian Holmes was a Royal Ranger. See, it was Ian Holmes. It was Greg or Craig, whatever that fucking kid's name was. I want to say Todd Carver. And there was a couple other kids. I don't remember who they were. But between Ian and Greg or Craig, I can't remember what the fuck his name was. You know who he was. You know who he was. I know you know who he was. The Greg kid, whatever. And we would get together and we had these little outfits we had to put on. Oh, just like the other one, but we had to wear these little outfits. And we go. And the only highlight was DLT would buy juice. Like, he took this serious. Like, he took this legitimately serious. He never invested a nickel into me as his own son, but he was investing into Ian Holmes and Greg, Craig, whatever the fuck his name is. Like, he loved those kids more than he loved me. Okay. And Scott Cummings was there. That's right. That fucking faggot. Oh my God. My mother invited that asshole to my 12th or 13th birthday, whatever it was. Yeah, I think it was like the 13th. We had it at that Pizza Hut one. And fucking Scott Cummings, just because your name has got cum in the title doesn't mean you have to be a fucking dick about life. He came to my birthday party and he was literally punching everybody in the balls. Like, he would just run up to the boys and boom, punch them right in the balls for no reason. And laugh about it. He did that to Jamie. I think he did that to Brian Coleman. And then he did it to me, and I got so pissed off. I chased him into the frickin' dining room. And there was that chair in the corner, and I fucking started wailing on him. I was like, I don't remember what I said, but it was pretty brutal. And I started pounding on the fucker. Like, knock it out. I think he settled down after that, but I mean, again, just because you got cum in your last name doesn't mean you got to be touching people's dicks and shit, you know? That's just gay. That's just fucking homo. Although I might be confusing, because I had a couple birthdays back to back. I think it may have been 12th and 13th. I may be confusing the two. I can't remember if Brian Coleman was there. Because there's that one time when all these people from the Assembly of God came to my birthday, and it pissed me off because it's like they were only there for the quote unquote the fellowship. They were only there for the free food. They knew nothing about me. I mean, the Colemans, I think, gave me like a $3 Cowboy and Indian play set that they got at frickin' Kinney Drugstore, which is basically a little figurine of an Indian, a little figurine of a... And I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do with this shit? Well, this has got Nintendo written on the side of it. What the fuck am I going to do with this shit? You might as well just give me $3 and tell me to go fuck myself. Okay? This is stupid. You know? And it pissed me off because these people came and commandeered my birthday. They were trying to steal my cake. And then trying to pass off and hawk off these shitty ass toys like, like they know me. They don't know me. If you knew me, okay. And this is from the same fucking people who said that Masters of the Universe were evil and blah blah blah. Yeah, they give me cowboys and Indians. Oh yeah, sure. A fucking atrocity done to actual human beings. No, that's cool. But Masters of the Universe, yeah. That's gonna lose sleep over that shit, you fucking idiots. But yeah, it was weird because Brian's mom had big tits, and it was weird because as a young boy, you were like, them some big titties, but there was always this stigma of that's the Colemans that are kind of fucked up. They're kind of like off limits, kind of like if Noxer had like, you know, a nice ass or something, it would be one of those things where it's like, ew, but she got a nice ass. You know, it was one of those things where it's like the Cootie Girl. Like the Cootie Girl. Imagine the Cootie Girl had nice big titties. It's like, it's almost like Catch-22 because it's like, ew, stay away from her, but she got nice titties. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like, And to have these people run around my house really was strange. I remember what I did. I fucked with those kids. I mind fucked those kids so bad. You got Jeff McDaniels. I think his brother was there. I think. Or no, there was Mike and Jeff McDaniels. It was Brian Coleman. Yeah, I think this may have been like 11 or 12 birthday, whatever. And I was like, "You want to come out and see my fort?" And they're like, "Oh yeah." And I was like, "There's a secret trail." I'm totally fucking with these guys. Now, you gotta understand, it wasn't like I was trying to be cool to get in with them. I was trying to make them cool to get in with me. There was a huge difference. Because I was the kid that was in public school. They're the ones who were being home taught. So I was the cooler kid. It wasn't a peer pressure. I was trying to peer them into pressure. Okay? I was trying to make them less stiff dicks, you know? And I'm like, "You want to come see there's a secret path to my fort." They're like, "Okay." So, what I did is now you gotta understand, it just started to rain. So, I'm seeing like 5 or 6 of these boys, and we go outside the house, we go around the back, like around the front, facing the store, facing the road. We go around the back. I'm like, "It's over this way." We go around the house. We go on the other side of the fence that leads to like the Water Street Bank. And we go across the fence. Now keep in mind, we came out of the house, like facing the fence, so we're now on the other side of it. As we went around the back side of the whole house. And if we come around, we go behind the garage, behind the pool. And there was this old chicken coop. Because Dale T had chickens one time. And he had to go 2 weeks to wherever, Texas or wherever the fuck it was for his reserves. And while he was gone for those 2 weeks, the old woman was supposed to take care of him. Well, she, quote unquote, left the door open. And he had this stampede of chickens that ran down the fucking bank down the Water Street, and they all died. And Dale T comes home and he's all pissed off because he had all these chickens. I don't know what the fuck he was doing with them, but he had them. And my mother hated him. And I think she purposely left the door open. I can't confirm nor deny that. Anyways, this was like a decade later. The old chicken coop was falling down, and it was out behind the garage. So there's barely anything there, right? There's like a couple pieces of wood and barely a little bit of a roof. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's over here." I led them out to the old chicken coop, and they're like, "This is lame. This sucks. This isn't a fort. I'm going inside." It was the funniest fucking thing because I was completely trolling these fuckers. I started to laugh. I'm like, "What? This isn't cool enough for you guys?" And they got mad at me. And I think that was like the last memory that I have of these fucking kids. So, yeah, needless to say, my childhood was fucking garbage. And I had to make the most of it. So, anyways, whatever. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm not going to talk anymore. I'm done talking about this shit. Maybe I'll tell some more stories later, but fuck you. It's fuck you. No more story time for you. Fuck you. And Merry Christmas, asshole.